Hey folks, it's Rick. Haha. So I'm not calling it 100% done, but I'm really close. I don't have a truss rod cover yet. I'm gonna order one, and still doing little tweaks on the nut, but it's so much better than it was. Um, so here's what we have. We've got the plate that I bought down at the store with a jack that I found in my garage, or the output jack. I've got this, I got a pre-wired switch and knob plate, whatever you want to call it, from GFS. I think it was 20 bucks. It works. It's got those little mini pots in it, but it works really well. I like it. There's my $8 bridge from Amazon, and my $17 saddles from Amazon. The saddles cost twice as much as the bridge. That's alright, because what they are, I don't know if I can make it visible. This is these are threaded saddles, so I can set the strings spacing how I need to. And you see, I actually have the 6th string coming off the neck almost. I don't ever really play it, but it still works up here. But I had to do that, and I'll say why. I took the Tex-Mex pickups out of my road-worn Tele. I put them in here. It was a little bit of a doing because the screws didn't line up with these old screw holes from the DEGAS. They were in much closer, so and the pickup was much smaller than the DEGAS Telecaster was. DEGAS neck pickup was. So I've got a crazy elaborate system of foam in there holding the pickup together where it needs to be, and it's also screwed right into the body. It works really well. That's the original pick guard. So I got rid of the P90 thing. I was just doing that for fun anyway. Original strap buttons. I put 11s on it because this is a 24.5-inch scale length, and the 10s were just sounding a little bit too buzzy for me. I put new string trees in, and those are the brand new Fender vintage tuners. They're the 70s vintage tuners, so they look like this on the back. Can you see them? Tell me, can you see? There they are. Other than that, I think that's it. I think that's everything I did. She sounded pretty good. Like I said, it took me a couple days stretching strings, moving the filing the slots a little bit, setting up the intonation. Took a while on this, but it's done. Still a little bit wonky, but it'll get better. I'm playing it through the big amp, the big Gens Black Pearl 30. It sounds pretty good. It sounds good through all my amps. I'm using just some pedals, but it's cool. 2 months ago, this thing was sitting in the corner, all dusty and crappy looking. It still looks pretty crappy, but I sanded down all of these parts that were naturally and authentically reliced by me as a child. I just sanded them so that they don't feel sharp or anything. They kind of feel nice. I like it, I guess. I can't complain one bit about it. The toughest part was lining up this this bridge and tailpiece thing. Even though you screwed the screws correctly, if one of them's just a little bit off, it's going to pull it one way or the other. So I had to loosen one, tighten the other, loosen one, tighten the other. It was a little bit tough. Tellies are a little bit trickier to work on than Strats are. Who would have known? I thought they were simpler. Let's listen to it clean. So really, it's interesting that I'm too loud right now. The neck pickup's more boomy than it was on the Telecaster. I mean, when I say boomy, I mean Oh, and I said, well, I want to space these strings correctly. This is a 1.5-inch nut. It's smaller than anything you'll find anywhere. Um, so it's a little bit tighter. Maybe it's not smaller than a Rickenbacker, but you're not going to find a Rickenbacker nut to fit in here. So I had to cut these slots myself, which is the first time I've ever done that, and I didn't do it perfectly, that's for sure. They're the only space where they're a little bit off is the 5th and 6th string. They seem just a little bit closer, but maybe that's because the strings are thicker. I don't know. And so I've got things spaced in a specific way. Anyway, I'm gonna play. So today it'll be with My Darn Jam Tracks, the Soul Ballad track in G. Right on. So, old Yeller, old DEGAS Telecaster. I tried to look up DEGAS to see what it means, and all I could find was to release gas. DEGAS. Interesting. So, to release gas. So this is old flatulence, the guitar. Yoni! Peace to you. Everybody stay happy. And we'll talk to you later. Excellent. Here's how you make a fancy ass Italian gluten-free pizza. I'm always gluten-free because the doctor told me my body does not like wheat anymore. So this is some salami and some sun-dried tomatoes, olive oil and garlic, baby, on this gluten-free pizza crust from Trader Joe's. Got a piece of chicken cooking outside. Slap some of this light shredded mozzarella cheese on it. Oh, magic ingredient. Some sliced jalapenos. Guess the wife's knocking on. Ooh, see? Piece of chicken. Like I said, the wife's not going to want this pizza. There it is. Before it goes in the oven. Put some cheese on. Put some Romano cheese. Put that chicken on. Almost not cooked, that chicken, but it's going to cook in the oven, so that's great. It'll be nice and juicy. I can't wait. Okay, pop this in the oven.